Can everyone hear me okay? This microphone doesn't make any noise out here, just for the live stream, but welcome. Do we want to turn this music down?
Hey, how's it going? Good. I've been instructed to stand in the corner because everyone can hear me now.
Got it. Double mic duty. There it is. I think we're just going to turn down this jam happening. Perfect. It's a lot of things to hold. Does anyone know how to make this move the slide?
Oh, turn it on.
Is it not on? Okay. Cool. I'll do it the old-fashioned way. Good morning, everyone. My name is Meg. Welcome to Social Media Breakfast. If you have not been to Social Media Breakfast before, a little bit about us. Our focus is on education, so we can all get together and learn about digital marketing and social media. And we also love the networking element that Social Media Breakfast brings for everyone when we meet. And we do meet the third Wednesday morning of every month. So we meet here in Dream Bank each week, or you can stream online if you're not able to make it in person. Shout out to our board of directors. We are a volunteer board. I am on the board, as well as all these lovely faces that you're seeing each week. A lot of us are here today. We also have two new board members that I'd like to shout out. Genevieve is our first board member, who, a little bit about Genevieve, you can see she's works for St. Vincent de Paul as the social media and e-commerce manager. And she's been volunteering with us all year, basically. So we're happy to have her on the board. She's back helping with our check-in back there. Let's give it up for Genevieve. And we have another new board member, Amelia, who has done all of our social content for a while too. So anytime you see a post on social on the SMB channels, that's Amelia. So thanks, Amelia, for doing all of that for us. And she's also the marketing coordinator at One Community Bank. We're happy to have her on the board as well. So let's give it up for Amelia. We are on all those social channels that Amelia does such a great job with. So make sure to connect with us on your favorite platform that you enjoy using. Oh boy. Someone's going to enjoy a coffee on us. Am I correct in thinking that someone should check under their seats? I don't know. Did someone put the gift card under the seat? Anyone? How do we, Liz, how do we determine this winner? Is it under the chair?
I think close your eyes and point.
Yeah. And then you pick.
I pick.
You pick.
Oh my gosh. This is too much. Ooh, I'm gonna wait for questions. Thank you for the input there. Someone's gonna win a $10 gift card, and I can't wait. Okay. We do offer scholarships through SMB. So if you're looking for some extra personal development, going to a conference, anything like that, please reach out to us. We will help you get there. We will help you learn. Kelly recently attended the SBDC Digital Marketing and Social Media Conference, and we helped send her there. So Kelly, I think, had an awesome time, and we're happy to help people achieve those things. Oh, thanks, Kelly. Yay. I believe this upcoming event just filled up. So we are out of spots, but this is something that we are doing coming up. It's a social media mindset, very intimate gathering with Faith and Andrea. And our next social media event is Egan, and he's right there. And that'll be on February 15th, what SEO looks like in the age of AI. So very excited for that. If you'd like to get involved with social media breakfasts, we're always seeking speakers. So if you're an expert in a topic, let us know. We're always looking for volunteers to help us write blogs, to help greet and welcome people at the door. And there's plenty of other things that we can use your assistance with. We're always looking for food sponsors as well as nonprofits that we can spotlight each event. And we do have an awesome Facebook group called Social Media Madison Masterminds. So if you're involved in Facebook and you want to be a part of our group, there's a lot of really awesome information that gets shared there. A big thank you to our sponsors. You can see all of their wonderful logos here. They help us make this event possible. So thank you to them. And an extra special thank you to Dream Bank, who hosts us each week. Andy's going to come up and say a few words.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thanks so much for being here. My name is Andy. I work here at Dream Bank, and I always look forward to these Wednesday mornings. Any first timers? Couple? All right, rock and roll. So yeah, I know many of you are familiar, but we are a free community resource that is put on by American Family Insurance, and the whole reason why we exist is to help inspire people to pursue their dreams, in large part by helping to remove barriers for them. So we host right around 15 free events a month that are through the lens of personal and professional development. They're hosted right here in this space or online as well. You can check out all of our upcoming events on our website, which is amfam.com/dreambank. In addition to the events that we host, we also have a drop-in co-working space where people are able to come in and have a quietish place to work throughout the day. What was it? Reputation. I'm still learning about the way of Taylor Swift. I think that was Amelia's favorite era. So I don't have a favorite era yet, but we play a lot of Taylor Swift here, so I'm still trying to figure that out. But the drop-in co-working space is open during our normal business operating hours, which is Tuesday through Thursday, 9 to 5. So you're always able to come in and have a place to kind of post up, meet folks, and get some work done. It's meant to be a physical location to work on your dreams. And then all the way in the back of the space, we have a very robust and interactive exhibit that's always on site. It's rooted in positive psychology, meant to embody some of the beliefs and values of the company. The one that we've had here has been here for quite some time. It's Build Your Dream, but really content heavy. A lot of really good ideas, lessons that ladder up through design thinking. So I know where I'm at in my dream pursuit. I ultimately know where I want to be. How do I kind of navigate the middle part, which is typically the messiest part? So if you have any questions about any of our programming or our space, we'd be happy to answer that. But with that, I will kick it back to Meg.
Thank you. And I'd also like to invite up our breakfast sponsor, Salvatore's tomato pies. The breakfast this morning was so yummy. Thank you so much, everybody. Let's give it up for Sal's for sponsoring our breakfast.
Hello, hello. Oh, hello. I'm Gina from Sal's. This is Audrey, our most crucial employee. She does everything there is to do at Sal's, including cooking this morning. But we want to thank Garrett, our commissary chef, who has made all the food for us since we've been doing this. He's done a wonderful job. And he took it very personally this morning when there was a cinnamon roll mishap, and he promised them. So that's the reason for the Green Bush donuts that actually have nothing to do with us. But he wanted you to have a sweet because he had promised it. But we have enjoyed being here with y'all. It's been great getting to know people. In terms of promoting ourselves, I just want y'all to know that our Monona location, how many people live near Monona? We've just opened our dine-in space, which is really incredible. It's a comfy space, good cocktails, and delicious pizza as normal. We're going to be adding some new menu items there, but I want all of you to take a chance to go down there and visit that new space. It's really exciting. Also, in about a month, we're going to be renovating the Livingston space to make it more comfortable, more inviting, and more seating, a better outdoor space. Not that it matters right now, but about 2 blocks. Is that right? So go through the alley, head that way, and there'll be some renovations there. So thank you for having us. We've really enjoyed all this and hope to be back again in the future with you. Oh, yeah. Thank you.
All right. And then also at the table when you were entering by the door, there was a nonprofit spotlight table for Monroe Street Arts Center. Their community school of the arts located in, I do not know how to pronounce that neighborhood, in the neighborhood of Madison near Monroe Street. So we are happy to have them here today. Make sure to stop by the table after to check in with them and learn a little bit more about what they do.
It's Dungeon Monroe.
Thank-
Dungeon.
Thank you. I've never actually said that out loud, but I've read it. And now the thing we're all here and excited about. Ema Roloff is going to come up here and do our presentation for today. So let's give it up for her.
Thank you. All right, let's turn this bad boy on.
This one also, or?
No, I'm triple mic'd already.
Okay.
So I think we're good to go. Well, come on, computer. The moment that you've all been waiting for, my computer to freeze. Okay. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining me. We're going to be talking about short form video today. And but to get us started, I want to talk a little bit about the importance of this idea of captivating and converting. And so the internet tells me, I don't know how they measure this, but they told me that an average goldfish has an attention span of 9 seconds. But over the last 20 years, what we've seen happen to the human attention span is dropping from about 12 seconds down to what they're estimating now at 8.25 seconds. So as marketers or salespeople or business owners, we have more time to captivate this lovely little goldfish than we do our customers when they are consuming content, researching options for their buying, and that changes the way that we look at marketing forever. And likely this is going to continue to drop as we look at the impact that technology is having on all of us as consumers and anybody that we're marketing or selling to. That's not to say that we can't captivate people, but it is saying that we've got a shorter window of time than ever before to pull our audience in and take our prospects and convert them into customers. And that window of time continuing to shorten means that rather than resisting technology or new ways of like interacting with our customers and our prospects, means that we really need to lean into that. And obviously, based on the topic of my conversation today with all of you, I'm very bullish on the belief that video, and specifically short form video, is one of the most powerful tools that you're going to have at your disposal to be able to not only captivate potential customers, grow a brand, build authority, and build trust, but then also take that authority and that trust and convert those prospects or active learners into customers moving forward. And so for those of you that don't know me and why I'm here to talk about this topic, my name is Ema Roloff. I'm the co-founder of a consulting company with my co-founder over there with the same last name, which is why we got really creative with naming it, my husband, James. And our focus with our consulting company is to help companies move through what we're calling the transformation of sales and marketing and really modernize the approaches that we take through this captivate and convert life cycle and help people tap into all sorts of digital ways of selling and marketing beyond short form video. But specifically, near and dear to my heart, short form video, like personally, has completely transformed my career, the way that I sell, and has given me the opportunity to not only reach literally millions of people, but take that reach and convert it into millions of dollars worth of sales for the companies that I've worked for over the last 3 years. And so the belief in that mentality and that sales approach and similar experiences for James is what made us launch our company and really start diving into helping more organizations leverage these tools moving forward. So today, getting really creative with our agenda based off of the title, we're going to focus on how do we use short form video to captivate people, and then we're going to look at how we use it to convert and kind of talking through what I hope are really tangible how-to tips for you along the way. So whenever you see this nice little guy, this is where I'm saying maybe take out your phone, take a picture, and or there's some QR codes throughout here with some resources that are on James and I's website that are free to you to start using to kind of build out your short form video strategy. And I hope that by the end of this presentation, I can convince you that whether it's for your personal brand or your company's brand, that you should start leveraging short form video in some capacity. So first, before we get to it, I want to just kind of like talk through what I always say are like the level setting ideas. And like, let's just talk about what short form video is. It's not all weird trick videos or dancing videos or makeup tutorials, but really what we're focused on, at least in my concept of short form video today, are things that would be posted on Reels, TikToks, YouTube Shorts, videos that could go onto LinkedIn. LinkedIn doesn't always have to be short form. You can go up to 10 minutes. But again, it's these emerging video platforms and tools within existing platforms that allow us to have these short form videos that are typically filmed vertically and looking at they're between 30 seconds to 3 minutes, but we can, depending on when we start getting into kind of some of the ideas that are associated with or like ways to create these videos, they can even be as short as 7 seconds if you have like a really pinpointed topic that you're looking to dive into. Beyond what it is, I want to kind of stress the idea behind why I think video is such an important part of a strategy moving forward for companies. And it has to do probably a little bit with what Egan is going to be talking about in the next presentation as well. But as we start to see AI coming into like full fruition with generative capabilities and reshaping how we create content, there's going to be a lot of content that feels and looks the same. There's going to be a lot of content that has, I mean, raise your hand if you can tell if someone's made a LinkedIn post with ChatGPT. Okay, so like we kind of know the signs. It's usually follows a very similar framework. It's got like far too many weird emojis in it, and there's like some things that just don't have the voice of that person if you typically have seen their content. That type of standardization of written content is going to make people thirsty for authentic content, but specifically video gives you a way to connect in a capacity that feels much more natural than some written content can be. Now, that's not to say that there isn't a time and a place for written content and you should have a strategy that envelops all sorts of different tools, but video is going to give you a different way to latch onto that idea of authenticity, and we'll continue to build on that throughout the presentation. So, what did I do? I stepped on something, Andy, and I think I broke it. I only ate half the donut.
No, I think it's, yeah. This is a little thank you thing.
Oh, okay. We're back. Andy saved the day. Yay! No more stepping on that. Okay, so now we're going to transition into talking about how to use video to captivate people, and then again, kind of looking at some of these how-to tips along the way. So the first piece I want to stress indefinitely to all of you, if you can remember one thing when we leave this conversation today, it is do not overcomplicate short-form video. Do not feel like you have to be Faith or Dan, who's back there. I say this as I've got all of my mics and all the people that are doing the fancy things for me. Do not overcomplicate short form video, because going back to that idea of authenticity, being who you are and showing up is the most important part of a short form video strategy. Really, from like a starter kit perspective, and James was making fun of me for this guy in my presentation, but from a starting point, you need a phone, some natural light from a window, and a quiet place to record. That is all you need to start creating content. And one of the biggest challenges that I hear from people on a regular basis is that they don't know where to start, or they feel like they don't have the equipment, or they don't have this or that. There will be a million different reasons for you to stay away from putting the phone in your face and recording a video. But I promise there is somebody out there who's looking for the information that you have in your brain, and they will care a lot more about you taking that and putting it into a form that they can consume than they will care if you're perfectly lit, or they will care about any of the other pieces that you're going to put in your way. And I I say this because when I started, I promise it was ugly. Like, and some of it still is from a short, like depending on the video or when I'm recording it. There's been times where I get an idea in a yoga class and I'm still sweaty and gross, and I record that video and I post it, and it does better than any other content that I planned and shot and tried to perfect. But this example is the example I always go back to. And this was one of the first videos that I made about 3.5 years ago when I was working with a local company called Navient. And optical character recognition is a piece of technology that we sold as a part of our portfolio. I knew that I wanted to make a 60-second explainer video. I knew that I needed somewhere quiet. It was during COVID. So I went into my daughter's closet. And I, at that point, didn't have anything beyond the camera that was on my computer. It was not even an external web camera. I was literally in a closet, so you can see the darkness from the other side that wasn't directly in front of the door. And I didn't have a microphone beyond what was on the computer. I didn't have fancy editing software. It was literally something called Screencast-O-Matic that I was using to edit these videos because I was just trying to test out what I was doing. And I didn't have access to fancy graphics. I put some stuff in there like this, copied and pasted right from good old PowerPoint into the video. It wasn't anything fancy, but that video still shows up on the main search page for Google if you look at what is optical character recognition. There's over 26,000 views on this video, and it wasn't a short. This was before YouTube Shorts started. So it's just a standard YouTube video that has over 26,000 views for that 60-second explainer. If that doesn't like get you to realize that it doesn't have to be fancy, I might as well just walk out the door because we might be done today. I want to also talk through everybody's content is going to look different, and there are so many different ways that you can leverage short form video and so many different ways to start experimenting what that looks like and what feels natural to you or your company if you're looking at this from an overarching brand strategy. I have played around with so many of these different types of content, so I can show like my personal examples. But my kind of go-to style is like these explainer videos or skits where I'm kind of talking to myself and changing my outfits and explaining ideas. There's trending sounds, and you can use those if you want to go down that path. I've taken longer clips and shortened them and added captions and created 30-second clips from a 45-minute presentation. There's kind of what is like known in like the industry as talking head. This is the kind of video where you've got something in your brain and it needs to get out, and you just start talking at the camera, and it's somewhere from 30 seconds to 3 minutes. That fits into this category. There's endless opportunities for you to collaborate with other people and create things that, you know, this one kind of crosses over. There was some trending sounds with it and a trend associated with it, but event recaps, all sorts of things. And then now with tools like CapCut, you can create templated videos that are moving memes that like can go viral like that. So I wanted to put this up here to get you to realize that there isn't a right type of short form content. It's what feels natural to you, and you're going to figure out what that is by getting used to moving through the process of creating videos and finding what resonates with you and what resonates with your audience or your potential buyers. Kind of going back to the very beginning when we were talking about the attention span dropping. 8.25 seconds obviously is not our entire attention span. That's how quickly we have to capture somebody's attention. But the reason that I was saying earlier is that we might continue to see that drop off is that we are just constantly inundated with different distractions that will pull us away from whatever we're trying to concentrate on. And if you're anything like me, I had to close probably 30 tabs to be able to do this presentation today. But there's how many unread emails in your inbox, or the doorbell ringing, or your kids asking you questions, or text messages coming in. Your content has to be interesting enough to hack into kind of some of the things that happen in our brains to capture us. And that's why short form video can be so powerful, is because when we're looking at like ways of attention hacking and getting people, there's only so much you can do with a static image or a static piece of written content. Video gives you these opportunities to reset that attention span over time and capture those people and keep them engaged with you for longer periods of time to get your message across. So there's obviously written ways of capturing attention with hooks. So I'll bring up some more examples here in a minute, but the text on the screen is a really powerful way within video to pull people in. And if you listen to like TikTok or Instagram reel gurus, they'll always talk about having a really strong text hook on the screen so that even if somebody's phone is muted or they don't have the volume on, you can capture their attention that way. There's spoken hooks, and the first words that you're saying in the first 3 to 5 seconds, again, assuming their volume is on, are a way to capture people and get them engaged with you. And then there's like the text post that goes along with it, or the content that you accompany with your video. So how many people in the room are more B2B versus B2C? Okay, and then B2C folks? Okay, so we've actually got like a pretty good split. But depending on what your platform is, if you're on the B2B side, LinkedIn might be more of like a go-to platform where you would repurpose some of this content. You have a whole lot of real estate that comes ahead of the video to put in hooks and get that text post and like being engaging for your content. And then on Instagram and TikTok or YouTube, you've got a fair amount of description space as well. If you've hooked them with something in the video, they'll go down to that caption and you can expand on it more. So it's, again, kind of looking at how you bring all of those different tools together to pull people into your engage with your content even further. So there's a couple of like little hacks that I wanted to point out to everybody in terms of like these different types of engagement that you can garner interest with. So the first is like this immediate movement. And actually, I'm going to go back again. So you can see in this one, I'm setting my phone down. And it's purposely meant to be a little jarring when somebody is engaging with the video for the first time, because the movement makes them be like, oh, wait, what's going on here? And kind of lean in a little bit more. So there's those types of things. Or even people will say, like, put on some loud, clinky bracelets and make noise so that there's something else engaging somebody's brain as they're watching videos along the way. There's text hooks, again, having text that moves really quickly across the video, especially if it's a shorter video. James, I know this drives you crazy. You get angry when you can't read it quick enough, but the trick here is people will watch the video multiple times to be able to actually catch what you're putting in the text hooks. So then they're more engaged and they're watching your video multiple times to stay engaged with that piece of content. I'm going to go back again. This one, just random stuff that wouldn't normally show up on someone's feed, is like kind of what's called like a scroll stopper. So doing something that is going to make somebody question what the hell you're even talking about in your video. Those will perform really well because it's just going to get somebody to stop and engage with it. And then like over here, that's a really unflattering screenshot to talk through, but like changing your characters, changing your camera shots. So again, kind of even going back to that immediate movement, if you really want to capture people, if you like jump cuts or camera changes every couple of seconds, again, thinking through that like 8.5 second attention span, you almost need to reset and re-engage with these types of attention hooks and like hacking throughout your video in order to keep people engaged. That's a big part of the reason that a lot of TikTok videos will have captions that scroll rather than or highlight, because there's little bits of movement and little things across the way that will pull those viewers back in as they're watching those videos across your entire landscape. The other piece that video does a really nice job with, beyond being able to kind of attention hack and pull people in, is it gives you the opportunity to tell a story. And it gives you an opportunity to connect in a way that feels just like innately very natural to humans. And so I obviously have like the hero's journey here on the slide, but some of the videos that I have that have performed best for me in terms of converting or getting a lot of engagement and comments and other people pulling in and reacting is when I'm just literally telling a story. There's nothing else exciting about it. I talk with my hands, so maybe that's as exciting as it gets, but it's that true connection, human to human, of me sharing an experience. and you look at things that go just absolutely viral, there's so many of them of somebody going through an experience and telling this arc, whether they realize it or not, and making that viewer join them either as they go through that hero's journey or helping them discover how they can go through that journey on their own. Video is going to give you the opportunity to create that connection in a different way than you can in a text post. And I just naturally opt towards video because I like talking more than I like writing. And that's just as simple as it gets. But that being said, I know that I can also show my personality and show my authenticity much more directly through video and through talking to people and creating that connection. And so I would say one of the most impactful parts of my journey of using video and going through this process over the last couple of years is when I meet clients and I walk into a room, it can be somebody I've literally never interacted with before. And I go and I introduce myself and they're like, oh, it's so great to see you. And I'm like, nice to meet you. But they feel like they know me because I've been able to build that connection with them over time through that video. And it gives you the opportunity to have what feels like a one-to-one conversation with somebody, but it's truly taking kind of what my sales skills have allowed me to do over the years and apply it to marketing in that one-to-many capacity. Video allows you to paint a vision and paint a picture differently and or use, again, some of the things that we've been talking about, whether it's screenshots or green screens behind you of images, be able to add in visual elements that help you create a vision and tell that story more efficiently. And you can make videos really, really memorable. And again, from my own personal experience, I can say when I go out into like an event and I'm at a conference and I'm speaking, one of the biggest things that happens to me, and it seems to kind of happen collectively, which I think is interesting, is there's usually one video that I've made in the last 3 to 6 months that is the piece of content that people will talk to me about regularly. Sometimes it hits directly on what I would like them to be remembering. Sometimes it's something else. Like I was at a conference late last year. I forced James one day when he wasn't feeling it to make a TikTok with me about how I like to interrupt him during the day. And like kind of that like back and forth between like the really extroverted person that needs to talk and the spouse at home that just wants to be left alone and do work. He was really in that left alone and do work, so it was authentic like acting on his part. But that video was shared from our company page, which doesn't have the widest reach. But that video was what people continued to come back to because it made this connection. And everybody had like the amount of people that came up to me that were like, oh, I'm like your husband and my wife is always bothering me. Or, oh, no, that's me. And I can tell that they don't like it when I come in and bother them. It became memorable because there was this connection and it became this immediate point of like feeling like we knew each other with these people that I was talking to after never having met them before. The other piece that video does in a different way, people will share text posts, people will share images, but the biggest piece of why TikTok specifically has really taken off in the way that it has is because of this shareable nature. And if you create a piece of content that does a really good job of telling a story, creating connection, that your audience will become these little bees that take the pollen from that video and spread it far and wide for you. And any social media platform, whether it's LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, they all care about shares infinitely more than they care about other metrics. And if you watch what performs and what really starts to get high amounts of impressions, it's the content that's been shared over and over and over again. You can have really low actual like comments and engagement, but if it's a piece of content that gets shared like crazy, you're gonna just see the views and the impressions really skyrocket. Obviously, you want a piece of content that couples those things, but shareability is something that is huge with video and that I see on kind of across all the platforms, but like even LinkedIn too, video tends to be shared more predominantly. So coming back to some of these how-to tips and a resource for you to use, one of the things that is difficult about coming up with video content, and specifically these stories, is how and when do you have the ideas to create these stories, and do those ideas stick in your brain? So one of the things that I tell people that you absolutely need to have, whether it's from our tool that I put like the fancy little light bulb in, or literally a piece of paper or a note app or an email to yourself, whenever an idea strikes, capture it in some capacity. You might not be able to make that video in that moment, but write it down, because otherwise you're not going to take the time to create that piece of content. And so this idea bank is in this, like if you scan that QR code, it'll bring you to like a mini course on our website. We have a content calendar, so that it's like a 5-day calendar for you to map out how to kind of like create your posting schedule. But it also includes this idea bank and you can see some prompts of how to or explainers, things like a personal passion or stories about what, again, kind of that storytelling, upcoming events that you need to promote, customer questions or common customer problems. And again, for me, these types of tools are really valuable, because if I'm on a customer call and someone asks a question and I think that that would be good content, that's getting written down on the side. Sometimes it's in the margin of my notes for that meeting. I'm not the most organized person all the time, but this is a really good way to kind of keep track of those and make sure that you're telling those stories over time. So now I want to transition into how do we take these videos. It's great to maybe go viral or create content that people really enjoy and gives them a chuckle, but how do you use that to convert into business? So now we're going to go through like another little like group activity. So I want everybody to stop and think about the last purchase that they made that was over $100. Then I want you to think about whether it was, again, it could be clothes, it could be a nice dinner, it could be a hotel room or construction project or a new car, whatever that purchase is. How many of you did some sort of online research before you made that purchase? Okay, so you can see most of the hands. And then how many of you looked at reviews specifically? Okay, 94% of people are in agreement with those of you that raised your hands. And what that means is that our buying behavior has changed and it's not going back. And this started happening before COVID, and it really accelerated when we literally couldn't leave our houses to make purchases. But that behavioral shift is not going to go away. And it doesn't matter what the purchase is, there is a very high likelihood that people are going out and doing research to figure out what decision they're going to make. If I go to a restaurant, I want to see what the reviews are of the restaurant if I'm going to be spending money to go out, or like if I'm taking a client somewhere or something like that, I want to make sure it's nice. If I'm buying a pair of jeans online, I'm going to make sure that like I read the reviews to see if there's anybody that's around my size that said that they like fit the way that they're supposed to. It doesn't matter what the purchase is. We go online and we do research to inform ourselves before we make a buying decision. And there are different stages to that buying journey. And when we're thinking through how to position our videos and create content, especially at a brand level, it's really important to come back to the buyer's journey and think through how we're creating content across those different stages of the buyer's journey in order to lock in and help people make their research or go through that journey over time. So again, another piece of content, and this is James's brainchild, not mine, but this is what we call the content matrix, and it will guide you through the process of thinking through, okay, what kind of content do I create for someone that's in problem awareness stage of the buying cycle? What kind of content do I create for decision makers, or like that people that are in that final buying stage? And then also, what kind of content am I creating to support my existing customers and make them want to come back and continue to buy from me? And so again, this QR code will bring you to a mini course. It's a free mini course on our website where we'll, like James talks through the tool, how to use it. And then there are like the actual physical versions that you can walk through and interact with. But it's a really great way for you to start conceptualizing, again, beyond just these ideas that maybe you're putting into your bank. How do I take those ideas and map them to make sure that I've got content for my buyers throughout their entire buying process? This is another simple one for you. And another maybe secondary, if you can remember something. But people buy from people, but specifically they buy from people that they trust. And trust and authenticity are changing, whether it's from AI or just how we sell, has to shift to account for the fact that people want to work with people that they like and they want to work with people that they trust. And going back to this idea of authenticity, if I can stress a big idea here, it's be yourself when you're creating video content. Don't try to be somebody else. Don't try to replicate what somebody else is doing. You guys all saw like me step on a cord and disconnect this and have like an awkward moment because I'm a clumsy, uncomfortable person. That comes through in my content, and anybody who watches my content or interacts with me via TikTok or LinkedIn knows that piece of my personality because I don't try to hide it, so that I don't have to be embarrassed when I do that kind of stuff in public. And I don't have to be embarrassed if I do that kind of stuff in front of my clients. People know exactly who they're going to interact with when they come and buy from me or look at potentially being a customer of ours, because I am who I am, whether it's in my content or in our meetings or anything beyond that. And that authenticity is going to allow me to build trust at a different level. And the other piece that I haven't talked a lot about is the educational component of your content that is ultimately going to unlock those conversions. There was a mentality once upon a time that we could gate educational resources and entice people in through giving them like the name of a really cool ebook. At the end of the day, there is time and place to gate content. There is things that you should do if you're offering extensive amounts of value to somebody to have them come into your sales funnel. But short form video is a really great way to educate people authentically to build trust. And if you can think of yourself, and this is one of kind of like our guiding principles at Roloff Consulting, that through all of our training and our community that we stress over and over again, if you are in sales and marketing, you are a teacher. And I didn't say this during my introduction, but the whole way that James lured me into the sales career in the first place is I went to school to be a social studies teacher. And he explained to me this philosophy 10 years ago when I was making a career change, that the best salespeople, and now I've extrapolated that to the best sales and marketing people based off of how intertwined those are educators. You're a teacher. You have a specific topic that you teach on or a subject that you teach on. And the more that you can lean into teaching that subject to your audience or prospective buyers, the more you're going to build their trust. So the moment that they're ready to make a buying decision, they're going to come to you because you've already helped them. And that is the biggest piece of video, is it unlocks this way for you to authentically teach about whatever your subject is and help people on that buying journey so that it's natural for them to at least want to have a conversation with you. 60% of buyers, or I think it's a little over 60% of buyers, narrow down their vendor list of who they're going to interact with in a B2B stance only by online research. So if you are not showing up with educational content that helps them take their problem or their vision of where they want to go and turn it into a reality and turn it into something concrete, you're not even going to get a seat at the table to figure out if you're the right person to work with them. And then kind of even going a step further, over 70% of buyers report that the first person or the first company that helped them while they're doing their research go from like ideation to like clear path are the ones that end up winning the deal. So in 70% of deals, the first person that offered enough educational content in that buyer's journey are the ones that are winning the business at the end of the day. And that's a completely different sales paradox than we used to think, that like I can hit them right at the right time with a cold call and present them with a challenge that I know they're having, and they'll automatically want to talk to me. That There is, of course, still a need for awareness that comes with those types of tools and those types of like standard sales processes, but this will win you more deals by and far than anything else. The other piece that I want to touch on is that growing your audience, growing a strategy associated with video takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. And I couldn't find a video that was good enough to go from like seed, like little seed all the way up to a flower. But if you're starting a video strategy today, it's going to take time for that seed that you're planting to sprout. And then you're going to start to see stuff and you'll get excited. But then it's even going to take more time for that sprout to turn into a flower and like fully bloom for you to, again, kind of become like, have that content, going back to the visual before with all the bees. It takes time to grow the flowers that then create the pollen for the bees to take and share. So I don't want you to leave today thinking if I go make a video, I'm going to have more people knocking down my door than ever before. You have to show up consistently and you have to do it over time, but I promise it will work. And through James and I's community that's called the Catalyst community, we're working with other people going through this process. And some of the people that are in the community were people that we were advising and working with prior to them joining that. And now after a number of months, we're starting to see this growth happen and we're starting to see that like spark moment with everything. And it's so exciting to watch because they may have been a little skeptical. Like we've got a member of the community who has clients that he's been trying to cold call and outreach to for years and had kind of given up on. And he started a video strategy and started working on social selling. And now those clients are coming to him and he's sending us messages through the community of like, you guys, like I wasn't sure this was going to work. And like, I'm like still in a little bit of shock how well it has worked. And that's like the best, again, like being able to see it with our own careers, our own sales, but then now see that extrapolated across, that's probably not how you say that word, but like across that community, it like really reinforces this idea that it takes time, but it does work if you commit to it. The last kind of big pillar that I want to touch on is calls to action and how to really invite people in to work with you. So again, you can create all the educational content you want and you can create things that entertain people. But at the end of the day, if you don't have some sort of conversion strategy and some sort of call to action to get them into your funnel, they're not going to know how to work with you. And so you want to make it really, really, really easy for people to figure out exactly how to work with you. So there's, you know, we could go into many more kind of pieces of this conversation and talking about how to optimize your profiles so that there's a really clear call to action there so that even if you have a post that doesn't have a strong call to action, people can still piece it together. But there's also pieces that you can weave into your content. So there's like the direct call to action of reach out to me to learn more about X, Y, and Z, or book a demo, or join our community, or whatever those direct call to actions can be. But there's also these transitional calls to action that you can use, then kind of lockstep with that buyer's journey to figure out where they're at in that buyer's journey and create calls to action that invite them into your sales funnel without trying to slap them with a pitch. And so that's one thing, again, going back to that tool that will be valuable is it talks through where to position these direct call to actions and these transitional call to actions based off of that buyer's journey. If someone's just like figuring out that they have a problem for the first time, they might not be ready to jump on a call and learn more from you, but they might be interested in joining a newsletter and using that newsletter as a way to continue to engage with you, continue to be educated. So like, again, kind of going back to video, there's multiple ways that you can use video to deliver those calls to action. And so in this video, and this is going back to the one that I had before where I was moving the camera before, you can see there's a call to action to engage. There is the opportunity for me to like engage. It was driving towards an event that I did, but then also in the video, I specifically called out like, go watch this video. Let me know what you saw in it. And so you have the ability to have calls to action like text on the screen of like comment X, Y, and Z, or tell me this, or go to the link in the comments. You have the opportunity with your actual text post, whether that's the caption on the video in a different platform or the post on LinkedIn. And then you have the opportunity again within your video script or what you're saying to have that call to action so that you're reinforcing that in multiple ways, which again, you can do those things in a text post or with a video, or I'm sorry, with an image, but a video gives you just a bit more flexibility in how you invite people to come work with you. So with that, I just kind of want to review the like little how-to tips for everybody here. So again, your video starter kit, it doesn't have to be fancy. It can be a window and your phone and your kids locked in the basement. That's enough. I promise, or actually I lock myself in the basement a lot when the kids are upstairs with James. You've got all sorts of different video ideas, and these slides are going to be available for you all too. I have a QR code at the end, but there's explainer videos, skits, trending sounds, longer content. Again, the sky's the limit. You might even be able to create something new if you come up with an idea. So try it. It doesn't, the worst that happens is no one watches it and no one knows you did it. Attention hacking is a really big part of video. So think through how you can do jump cuts using the video editing platforms that are in TikTok or LinkedIn. YouTube even has one now for their shorts. It doesn't have to be fancy. Change your camera angles, whatever that looks like. I've got the idea bank piece here for you again, the content matrix, and then finally kind of like thinking through that idea of calls to action and how you're using those calls to action intentionally within your video. Kind of coming back to the very beginning, in my mind, video is the best way to capture the goldfish or the human attention span and bring them into your sales funnel. And so I would encourage all of you to, again, go back, maybe leverage some of the tools or join James and I in the community if you want to learn more about digital sales in general, and really start playing around what this would look like for building your personal brand and your organization's brand. But here's a couple of other links if you want to connect with us. But thank you very much for listening for the last 40 minutes, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Oh yeah, both.
Double mic it.
All right, awesome. So my question was around like using the same video for different platforms. I know I've seen you do it, but I hear other people say, no, every platform should have its own unique content. So I'm just curious, like, do you tweak them at all to make it work if you use the same video, or I guess do you have a strategy around that?
Not every video that I create on TikTok comes to LinkedIn.
Okay.
And I would say that that's probably the biggest part of the strategy is there's some stuff that lives there that just I know isn't going to translate because it's like too tied and too niche to like a trend that's on TikTok. That if somebody hasn't been watching that, it's going to be a big leap for them to like try and make the connection to what I'm talking about. Or there is admittedly some stuff that I might be a little bit more like brash with on like a TikTok platform than I would be on LinkedIn. So I would say that not everything transfers, but then I also will create content on TikTok that I know will resonate with my LinkedIn that doesn't necessarily resonate on TikTok. And I do it just from ease of like using the tools. So most of the videos that I create in TikTok because the editing is so easy in app. And then it might get posted or it might not get posted and then it goes to LinkedIn. But I would say by and large, I actually don't agree fully with the idea that like every platform needs its own content. All of my interviews that I do within my interview series live on YouTube and then are reposted. So in that scenario, I do shorten stuff when I'm posting interviews just because I don't think someone's going to sit on LinkedIn and watch a full episode. But I would say, again, if you're creating content that's authentic to you, I don't think it matters what platform it's on. It just might take off differently on different platforms. And if you're okay with that, then I say repurpose it.
Anyone else question?
Thanks so much, Emma. Lots of great ideas here, and just love to see what you've done with this. I'm curious, when you talk with people who are just kind of self-conscious of clients or otherwise, if they just don't want to be on video, you know, how do you counsel them?
Don't watch it back. That's the best advice that I can say. And it's because like you will be 1,000 million times harder on yourself than anybody else will be. And I think the biggest thing that people are concerned about, or what will stop them, is they'll create a video, they'll watch it, and they'll start thinking about all the what ifs or the comments that could come in or the people that might judge them. Whereas if you record it and you just put it out into the ether and like you see what happens, you're more likely to get the positive reinforcement that comes with creating the video than you are to get the terrible what ifs that are in your mind. And then over time, you get a little bit better at like feeling comfortable through the process. And it gets a little easier every single time you do it. But like still to this point, when I'm editing stuff, I do not watch a video more than once through to make sure it's like coherent after I've edited it. Because like I'll watch it and I'll be like, what did I just say there? Like, does that, like, why did I say that word wrong? And then I start repicking it and try to like go re-record it. So I will watch my clips to cut them the way that I need to. Or if I know that I messed something up and I need to delete it, I'll watch to make sure I delete it and like put things back together again. But otherwise, I don't watch stuff back because I can't handle it.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I think there's even more fundamental level, not just is this a good video, but just can I put myself on camera in front of I don't know how many people out there on the internet. And I sort of counsel, like you say, focus on being useful to them. You're going to educate them. You're going to build trust with them. They're going to like you for that reason. Try to get over the self-consciousness piece, but I think a lot of people have it in this world of we're on video and all these people can see us at any time. It's scary for a lot of people, so that there is sort of this moment, or there's this like leap that has to happen, I think.
Yeah, and I would say again, like the positive reinforcement will likely overcome the negative, but I can tell you for about a year, when you Google searched my name, the word eyebrow showed up. I don't know why. Someone on the internet was clearly talking about my eyebrows. And there's been, like James can attest, on TikTok, there's like a weird occurrence of people like criticizing my eyebrows for some reason or my facial expressions. And like at a certain point, like when you get that kind of interaction, you realize how ridiculous it is to let those people judge you. So it kind of like almost, if you can like get past the initial concern of it, it helps you kind of like realize like, oh, these are people that are hiding behind a keyboard criticizing my eyebrows. Like, who cares?
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you have fine eyebrows.
Thank you.
I didn't notice them, which I think is a good thing, right?
Yes.
I was just curious if you could talk a little bit about what you're seeing work on YouTube as opposed to LinkedIn and TikTok. It seems to have its own cadences, and I'm wondering if I can't tell if that subscribe button is for YouTube or if you're not on YouTube, but
Yep.
what you're seeing work either for you or in that sales process.
So I have an interview series that's on YouTube. And actually, Egan can attest to, he's been part of the mastermind of my initial YouTube series too with my previous company. So when I was working for Navient, I created a YouTube series and we really like optimized the channel and saw really substantial growth with our follower count, and also really turned that into a lead magnet for the company. I wouldn't say that I am a YouTube SEO guru. So my own personal YouTube hasn't grown quite the same way that it did when I had the support of like true digital marketing, like muscle, and I haven't let James loose on my YouTube yet. I just kind of use it as a landing spot for a lot of my content. I will say YouTube Shorts though, if you're sleeping on them and you've got a YouTube channel, get in there and get on it, because I will repurpose stuff from TikTok over that's under 60 seconds. And I've gotten random stuff that's popped up to 10, 15,000 views. Again, just through like the shorts. And I can typically see a follower count increase from that. And then again, for my YouTube, I use it more as like an opportunity to host all of my content. And I do a video series. It's not a full podcast. So I have it on like YouTube podcasts too, just as an alternative for people. But I would say, at least in my experience, it takes a bit more finesse to build a YouTube following than it does some of the other platforms. And I think you have to be slightly more thoughtful about the technical aspects of how you're positioning the video and what you're doing to promote yourself on that platform than you do on others. But I think again, if you are intentional with the way that you're managing your descriptions from an SEO standpoint, if you're repurposing those videos to other places to increase their their views, it obviously, like, there's plenty of people that have built massive followings that way. It's just not something that I spent a ton of time on.
Any other?
Thank you. I was wondering if you think there's a place for short form video content on X, formerly known as Twitter.
I am playing around with it with one of our clients right now. Truthfully, they don't have a large following on X, so it's kind of like full grassroots approach right now. I don't know, James, you're more familiar with X. Like, do you see a lot of video content, or like, is that something?
It's starting to grow more. I think it's not like I wouldn't build a strategy around it unless you want to grow on that platform.
Yeah. I think it's, again, something to vary what you're doing, but I don't know if you would necessarily build a following on X from video specifically the same way that you would on other platforms.
Yeah, it's a tricky space for that. I feel like the language isn't the same. Like,
yeah.
Visually.
Well, and going back to what Andrea asked, there is definitely a persona attached to each platform, and you can use that to your advantage. So like if I want really hot takes about something, I go to TikTok and I ask a very pointed question and watch the comments roll in that I would never see if I asked the same question on LinkedIn, because people aren't attached to their employers. People can feel like they can speak more freely. So if I'm looking for like almost like controversial information or like really blunt feedback on stuff, I will opt in that direction any day. And I would imagine the same thing is the kind of true for X in terms of like personality and language. It's a little harder for a company, I think, to build a massive following on the platform unless you're a household name. But individually, I think you could blend it into your strategy.
Thank you.
Great question. You are the winner of our $10 YOLO's gift card. Any other questions? Yes.
A Twitter win, a rare Twitter.
Yeah.
I come from a videography background, so my gut tells me to put in B-roll and logos and an end plate. Do you think that improves brand recognition or is going to hurt that authenticity you're talking about?
So I will tell you, my most viral video had a spelling mistake in it. Of course, because like who doesn't want to go viral when they prove that they don't know how to spell? But I think there's something to be said with, especially for short form video, being almost more raw, that it blends in and doesn't feel corporate. That being said, I think you can drop your name and do things to increase brand awareness in the way that you're speaking, that helps build that over time versus like taking the traditional approach. You also could, I mean, like, I don't want to say you have to use a phone. If you have different tools and skill sets at your disposal, your content can stand out by being professional that way. But I don't think you would need to go as far as you would if you were going to create like a formal professional video. And this is not to say, again, Dan is here helping me create a professional formal video. Faith is here doing the work of like the people, getting this out to everybody else who's here with us. There is 100% a time and a place for that video, but I think that those strategies just need to be blended and not everything needs to be fancy or branded.
Okay, one more.
So you've talked about kind of the balance between being professional and being authentic and being your true self. So it seems like on LinkedIn, there's a real focus on, you know, professionals presenting their, most folks that use LinkedIn are presenting something on their profession. How have you navigated that balance between the two?
So I would say when I, like, origin story when I first started in sales was like the cold calling is dead. Social selling is the way of the future. Go join a bunch of LinkedIn groups and have professional discussion that like didn't actually turn into anything. And even when I first started my video series and stuff like that, I did try to be more like professional because I felt like that was what was needed. When I started creating TikTok content, and I had one specific idea, and it was a trending sound, and it was something that kept going around in my head, and it was kind of like one of those, I'm just going to try it and see what happens. It was specifically not professional. And it was kind of like, let's see what happens if I take this approach. And it was like very much one of those scroll stopper videos, and it just took off. And then I started realizing the more that I lean into my personality, the more that I'll get comments from people. And like in my professional sales career, I was focused on selling to large scale insurance carriers and like C-suite of insurance carriers, which again, you think of like a stereotype of like a staunch professional, like white 55-year-old man in a suit. That is who I was selling to. And they won't always interact with the content, but they'll lurk and send me messages, or when I'm at events, come and talk to me about how refreshing it is that I don't take myself too seriously, and how refreshing it is to see somebody poking fun at some of the challenges that our industry has. So I think, again, kind of going back to it, there's a thirst for it, even if somebody's not going to like endorse you with a like or like a comment on every post. I know anecdotally that they're watching and consuming and enjoy it, and that it's led me into conversations that I wouldn't have had prior to that. So I would say, I mean, don't be offensive, don't be a jerk, but like lean into who you are and create that content, and you'll likely see a positive response.
All right. I think that'll do for today. Thank you. Let's give it up for Emma one more time.
Thank you.
You're free to go on with your day.